So I'm just showing you that I have the book. I have read the book. Because a lot of people do Sunday worship. What day you worship?
What day I worship?
Yeah.
I worship every day.
The people of Solomon and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the city. It says in 2:1, it tells you that the angels went before God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Keep the Sabbath
Keep holy
day
the Sabbath day.
holy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a commandment. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwelling. And the 14th day of the first month is the Lord's Passover. Right? We dealing with Bible. Greetings, what's going on? As always, you know I got to put that sound of Judah, the horn of Judah. You know I got to put that on, right? That's the trumpet. All right, so without further ado, let's get into this lesson today. Let's get into this lesson. What we're going to be dealing with is pretty much is Christ in the Old Testament. A lot of people think that Christ came and started, people think that Christ came and started with the New Testament, but Christ was actually there in the Old Testament. And I'm going to show you to where Christ was actually talking to Moses, talk with Jeremiah. He's been there the whole time. But a lot of people think that because people was dealing with God, remember Lord also, people used to call their masters Lord, even men, you know what I'm saying? Sarah called Abraham Lord back then. So let's just try to get into a few scriptures. Not going to be long. It's not going to be a 3-4 hour class like I usually do. I'm trying to get in and get out, you know, for edification. I want to start here. Let's go to Hebrew 10:7. I'm going to pull up here. Which, if you're on my other platform, you won't be able to see it, but you'll be able to hear me and you can see me, but you won't be able to actually see on my other platform what I'm actually bringing up, but I will read it for edification for you all. So I'm bringing this here up, and let's start with Hebrew. And when we get to Hebrew, let's go to chapter 10. All right, we got Hebrew. Let's go to 10, and let's go to verse 7. Right? Okay, and what do we have here? So when you go to Hebrew, and let me bring it up. He say, then said I, lo, I come in the volume of the book. It is written of me to do thy will, O God. So what he actually saying is, Christ saying, hey, I come in the volume of the book. I know you see me in the New Testament, but I was there in the Old Testament. In the book of Numbers, you know, when the children of Israel went through Egypt, I was that cloud that led them through that. Which, I'm not going to get into that, but I will give it to where Moses talked to him and asked, let me see your face. And he said, hey, anybody see my face, you surely will die. But I will show you, you know, an image of me. When he talked to Job, when he talked to Jeremiah. So I'm going to just try to get into that real quick. Let's go here. All right, so we understand that Christ come in the volume of the book. Now, let's start with Exodus, since that's the, you know, I want to start from front and work my way back. where we at? Exodus. So we're going to go to Exodus. Let's go to chapter 33. So we're going to go to Exodus 33. Let's start at 16. All right. Here he is. Let me make sure I'm here. 33 and 16. All right, here we go. I'm gonna start let's start at 16. For wherein shall there be known here, right, that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight. This is Moses talking to Christ. He hasn't show me where I have found, favor or grace in your sight. It is not, and he say, it is not that thou goes with us, so shall we be separated, and I and thy people from all the people that are upon the face of this earth. And the Lord said unto Moses, he said, I will do this thing also that thou hast spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by thy name. Grace also means glory. So when you see certain scriptures that say, have I found glory, it also means favor, So he does that. And now, so he goes and he says, we at 33 and 18, and he said, I beseech thee, show me thy glory, show me thy favor, right? So now Moses asks, I want to see you. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee, and will, he say, and will be, because this is the King James, so they got certain words that a V supposed to be a U, the F supposed to be an I, so work with me. Because I do have my King James in front of me. I have another standard King James, and then I have an English standard. So, but right now I'm just reading from the 1611 right off the internet. That way, y'all can actually, y'all there with me. So y'all won't say that I said this. All right. So he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. And he said, thou cannot see my face, for there shall no man see me and live. If you see my face, you're done. You won't be able to tell anybody about it. So you don't want to see his face right now, especially if you haven't got, right with the Lord. So people you say you want to see him, but you really don't want to see him right now. Now, let's keep going down. And the Lord said, behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock. And it shall come to pass, while my glory pass by, that I will put thee in a cliff of the rock, and will cover thee with thy hand while I pass by. Right? And I will take away my hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. Right? All right. Let's go down some more. Where we at? Let's go to 17. I'm gonna go somewhere here. So now he telling Moses, you can see me, but you won't see my face. All right. What do it? As we, Lord, Moses face just speak upon me. This is 33 and 17, right? All right. So let's go here. And he says also, and the Lord said unto Moses, I will do this thing also the Lord has spoken, for thou hast found grace in my sight, and I know thee by thy name. Right? And he said, I will see so many glory. Hold on. And did I see this already? And thou said, can I see my face? And the Lord, behold, there is a place by the shall stand upon the rock. Okay, and I would take away the hand. Okay, so is that 17? All right, so let's go to 18. I'm trying to let me show y'all something now. A lot of y'all, I'm gonna break some on y'all that y'all don't understand. All right. Um. Okay, you know what? Let's go to 34 because I'm thinking they showing me the same thing. So let's go to chapter 34. See what we're working on, the Lord's. No, that's not it. Should be 33 and 17. Okay, well, let's just do it like this. All right, I'll just go to the next chapter, right? He said, my face should not be seen. Let me work that. Okay. We back on track. Hear me out. So now, he tell Moses here, he said, and the Lord said unto Moses, he need 2 tablets of stone, like unto the first, and I will write upon these tablets the word that was in the first tablets, which thou hast breaking. So now we understand he talking to Moses after the Aaron made idols. Aaron made idols, the golden calf. And Moses got mad and he destroyed the tablets, you know what I'm saying? And I'm believing that the ground had already opened up and swallowed certain people who went against Moses while he went up to the mount for 40 days to get the laws and commandments. Now, this is the second time. Now, this is another 40 days that he's up on the mountain. So when he went to that mountain, it just not he went up there and came down. No, these 40 days. So this is the second time. That's why he say, I will, rewrite after the first one that you have broke. So now we know we're dealing with Moses a second time on Mount Sinai. And so that's why he said, and the Lord said unto Moses, he need 2 tablets of stone like unto the first one, and I will write upon these tablets the words. Let me do this. The words were in the first which you have break. Right? So I'm actually do with the highlighter. And be ready in the morning and come up in the morning unto Mount Sinai and present thyself with me in the top of the mountain. So, okay. It tells her, and no man shall come up with thee, neither. Sorry about that. Let me get that. And no man, come here. He say, and no man shall come with thee, neither let any man be seen throughout all of the mount, neither let the flocks nor herd feed before the mount. Why? Because that's holy ground. Remember, he told Moses when he first came there to take your shoes off. You're on holy land, right? So he said, he don't want the herds, the flocks, anybody be on there because we understand that is holy. Now, he said, and he hewed 2 tablets of stone. I'm right here. And he hewed 2 tablets of stone. Well, I can't work this. Two tablets. Hold on. I'm trying to get this highlight so you can see where I'm at. And he hewed 2 tablets of stones like unto the first. And Moses rose up early in the morning and went up onto Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded him, and took in his hand the 2 tablets of stone. Right? Remember, this is a 1611 King James, so certain words, you see where the V at? You know what I'm saying? I don't see any U's, so they use a V. Right? And the Lord descended in the clouds and stood with him, and there proclaimed the name of the Lord. Now, right? I'm gonna get back to this verse in a minute. He tells you right here, and the Lord descended in the clouds and stood with him and proclaimed the name of the Lord. Let me get here. Let's go to the book of Acts real quick. So when you go to Acts, I want to say, I got it here. Let me do this here. So I'm here in the book of Acts, right? We know that Christ appeared in the book of Acts, right? Get these glasses here. So we're dealing with, and we understand that where he at. I want to say chapter 2, and the young man, and it was about the hour. Okay. I'm too far in now. I want to say early in the beginning. Boom. Just stand up at the heaven, the cloud which has come from the heaven, and it shall come around. And it appointed to Joseph and Boston. Okay, so that's after he left. So we look for Christ leaving. Okay, Christ ascended to heaven. Okay, so we got Acts 1 and 9. I want to go to Acts 1 and 9 real quick. Let's get back here. You're going to get back to this here. I just want to show something. Right now, we at Acts 1 and 9. So it's easy here. Acts 1, 9. Boom. So we dealing with Acts 1 and 9. This is Christ. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times of the season which the Father hath put in his own power. But you shall receive power after that the Holy Ghost is come upon you, and you shall be witness unto me, both in Jerusalem. You see, there's no J's right here. Jerusalem, there's no J's. And right here, Judea, that's an I. See what I'm saying? It's supposed to be Judea, Judea, but it's an I. There's no J, so that's why when we tell you his name couldn't be Jesus, because this here is from the 1600s. But again, we understand that, people use the word Jesus and, instead of Yeshua. So he's telling him here, and Samaria, and until the uttermost part of the earth. This is the part here. And when he has spoken these things, while they beheld, thee was taken up, and a cloud received him out of the sight. So we understand this is how Christ left. And while they looked steadfast towards heaven as he went up, behold, two men stood beside him in white apparel. Right? Now we talking about two angels, which also said, ye men of Galilee, why are you standing glazing up into heaven? The same Jesus which is taken up from you into heaven shall so come in like manner as you have seen him go in heaven. So in other words, you seen Christ descend in the cloud, and you will see him return in the cloud. Understand? He's going to return the same way he left. So when you go back to Ephesus, where we was at, you have here where we was at 34 and 1. Is that where we was at? Right, here we go. So now that's why I just want to show you that he's in the Old Testament, and the same way he left, that's why it comes right here. 34 and 5. And the Lord descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. So we understand we're talking about Christ. Remember, God don't leave his throne. He never leave his throne. He had Christ do all his work. And the Lord passed by, right? It tells you right here. And the Lord passed by before him and proclaimed the Lord God, merciful and graceful, long suffering, and abundantly and goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, and that will by no means, this important, be clear and guilty, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children and upon the children's children until the third and fourth generation. You see right here? I want y'all to understand this is very important. Now I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it here. I'm gonna read it in the English. I don't know. Well, this is here is another Bible, but it's the New Life. I'm gonna read it so you can understand what he's saying in English, because a lot of people they hear it but they don't understand it. I understand it, but I want you to be edified. So that's 33:7, right? So he's telling him here. 31. Okay. Where that verse at? 34:7. I'm sorry. Okay. Let's get it. All right, here we go here. So the God compassion with mercy, he said, I am slow to anger and filled with unfailing love and faithfulness. He tells you right here, I lavish unfailing love to 1,000 generations. A generation is 50 years. So 50 years is one generation. He said 1,000. Okay. I lavish unfailing love to 1,000 generations. I forgive iniquity, rebellions, and sin. This is what I just read here. Right? Keeping the mercies of 1,000, forgiving iniquity and transgressions and sin. So we understand that here he's telling you that I forgive iniquity, and so transgression is rebellions. That means you're rebellion, you know what I mean, and sin. But I do not excuse the guilty, right? And I'm just reading it in English form. I lay the sins of the parents upon their children and their grandchildren. The entire family is affected, even children in the 3rd and 4th generation. So understand, we're them children in the 3rd, 4th, 5th generations. In other words, if you do something, that's going to fall on your kids and your grandkids and your great-grandkids. So the things that you do is going to affect your bloodline. I want you to understand that. So a lot of people not hearing me. Whatever you do is going to affect not just you. It's going to affect your kids and their kids and their kids. So it's going to kill your bloodline. That's what he's letting you know right here in this verse. Let's get back. Okay. Let me get this. Sorry about that. Let's go back here. Okay, and Moses made haste and bowed his head towards the earth and worship. And he said, if now I have found grace in the sight, O Lord, let my Lord, I pray thee, go amongst us, for it is a stiff-necked people, and pardon our iniquity and the sins, and take us for thy inheritance. Right? Now, this is what Moses and God is actually having a conversation. All right? And he said, behold, I make a covenant before all thy people, and I will do marvelous such as have not been seen done in all of the earth. Nor any nations, we know nations is people outside Israel. That means the white people, the Chinese people, the Africans, the Asians, the Muslims. That's them considered nations. You know, if you're not part of the 12 tribes of Israel, you're considered a nation. All right. And he say that, and all the people among which thou art shall see the work of the Lord, for it is a terrible thing that I will do with thee. He said, observe thou that which I commanded these days. Behold, I drive out before thee the Ammonites, Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Hittites, and the Jezebites. So remember that this ITE. We understand that ITE is being used in several instances. So we know Canaan is the son of Ham. So a Canaanite is a descendant, which means an Israelite is a descendant, right? And right now I'm in Exodus 33 and 11. So he said, observe that which I commanded this day. Behold, I drive out before thee the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Hittites, and the Jebusites. Don't forget, you also got the Levites, the Edomites, which is Esau. So the ITE just means your bloodline. As he said here, it fall on your children and your children's children and their children. So the ITE is your descendant, your bloodline. So anytime you see ITE behind a name, that don't mean religion. Only thing that means is a bloodline. Alrighty. And he also said, but ye shall destroy their altars. Well, hold on. Let's get back. He said, take heed to thyself, lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where thou goes, lest it be a snare in the midst of thee. Now, hold on. Check it out. So I want to go here. Let's go to 12. And I'm going right back here. I just need y'all to, I'm gonna move fast. I just need y'all to stay with me. Hold on 1 second. Okay. So check this out. So right here, I'm down here, and I'm going to read out the English so that y'all can have a better understanding. He say, the Lord replied, listen, I am making a covenant with you in the presence of all your people. I will perform miracles that have never been performed anywhere in the earth or in any nation, and all the people around you will see the powers of the Lord. The awesome power I will display for you, but listen carefully to everything I command you today. Then I will go ahead of you and drive out the Amorite, Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Hittites, and the Jebusites. Be very careful never to make a treaty with the people who live in the land. He's talking to Moses, where you are going. If you do, you will follow their evil ways and be trapped. Instead, you must break down their pagan altars, smash their sacred pillars, and cut down their Asherah poles. You must worship no other gods, for the Lord, whose very name is jealous, is a God who is jealous about his relationship with you. Here, he's telling Moses that not him, but God is a jealous God whose name is jealous. This is him talking to Moses, right? He's not talking about himself. He's talking about his father. I'm going to reread that. He said, and cut down their astral poles. You must not worship no other gods, for the Lord, whose very name is jealous, is a God who is jealous about his relationship with you. Understand? So he never said, because I am a God that is jealous, because I am a jealous God over my people. You see, Christ is not claiming that he's God, right? He's telling Moses, because at this point, nobody knows of Christ. They know of God. This is Moses' first interactions with God. All right? And I'm not going to say that nobody knows God, because we know Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. So let me rebuttal. But at this point, Moses don't know of God at this point. Of Christ at this point. He just knows of God. He just knows he's dealing with a spiritual entity. Understand? So now, when I say that, I want you to listen one more. You must not worship no other God, for the Lord, whose very name is jealous, is a God who is jealous about his relationship with you. You must not make a treaty of any kind with the people living in the land. They lust after their gods, offering sacrifice to them. They will invite you to join them in their sacrificial meals, and you will go with them. Then you will accept their daughters who sacrifice to other gods as wives for your sons, and they will seduce your sons to commit adultery against me by worshiping other gods. You must not make any gods of molten metal for yourself. And then it said you must celebrate the festival of the Feast of Unleavened Bread for 7 days. The bread you must eat without any yeast. So this is just him flat out just dealing with Moses, giving him certain he giving Moses certain instructions as he go forward. And see, this is right here. 14. For you shall, where the blue at? For thou shalt worship no other God, for the Lord whose name is jealous is a jealous God. Right? Boom. So let's get through that. Now, so that is Moses actually talking to Christ this whole time. You say, well, how we know it's Christ? Okay, let's figure it out. Let's go to Let's go to John 1:1. Let's go to John 1:1. What do we have here? Baby. John 1:1. Boom. What do we got here? Let's go with it. Okay. Let's start here. In the beginning was the Word. Who was the Word? The Word is Christ. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Why do you say that? The words were with God and the Word was God. Because everything that Christ is speaking, he's getting directly from the Father to give to the prophet, to give to the people. So that's why I say in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. So the Word is with God the Father, and the Word was God. Because that's why he said, if you've seen the Father, you have seen me. You know what I'm saying? Well, if you've seen me, you have seen the Father. Now listen, it says the same was in the beginning with God. In other words, Christ was there in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything that was made. And him was life, and the life the life was the light of men, and the light shined in the darkness, and comprehended in the darkness, and comprehended it not. And there was a man from God whose name was John. Right. So we understand right here. Let's go down here. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Right? So look. He said he was not not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light which light every man has come into the world. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. Right? He came unto his own, and his own received him not. Talking about Christ. But as many received him, to them he gave power to become the sons of God, even to them that believe in his name. So again, and then it tells you right here, and the Word, which is again Christ, right? And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us, and we beheld his glory, his favor, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, for the grace and truth. And so now right here he's just separating him from God. That's why he say the only begotten of the Father. So we understand we're talking about two different people. Right? So now we understand, we understand at this point, that everything was made by Christ. I already went to Hebrews 10:7-9 to where he said, I'll come in the volume of the book. So I just dealt with you in the Old Testament where he was talking to Moses. He separated himself from God when he say, that, for the Lord is a God, what I'm saying, is a jealous God. He was separating himself, which I just explained. John 1:1, it lets you know when I read down on to 9 and 10, it tells you that, all things that was recreated. So everything on earth that you see was actually created by Christ. All right? Everything. God don't leave it strong. So let me get into I did that for a reason. Let me show you something. Let's go to Job 38. Let's go to Job 38. Job 38. Where we at? Come here, baby. 38. Okay. So let's go to 38:4. So now, then the Lord answered Job out of whirlwind and said, Who is this that darken counsel by words without knowledge? In other words, why you talking to me and you're not educated enough, to even talk to me. The things that you're talking about, you have no idea. It's foolish. When it comes to me, because you have no, you don't have enough loins. You don't have enough courage to be able to answer me or, to deal with me in a certain matter. So now that's why he's telling Job, and this is after Job lost everything, his friends, the three friends saying that you did something wrong, you did this, you did that, right? So let's go here. So let's deal with this here. So now he's telling Job here, right? Grow up now thy loins like a man, right? He's talking to Job, for I will demand of thee and answer thou me. In other words, he's saying, I'm finna holler at you, bro. I need you to, stand on your square and talk to me. Now, I just went to John 1:1 to where it say all things was made by Christ for Christ. He created everything. I just went through that, right? Now that's the New Testament. This is the Old Testament. We're in Job. And I'm just showing you where Christ was all through the Old Testament. We just didn't understand. So when you say the Lord, understand that the Lord also stands, like I say, Sarah called Abraham Lord. The servants used to call the kings my Lord. I beseech my Lord. So this is a certain way they talked back in the day. We don't call people lords today. So when you say Lord, we talking about God. But back then, it was a different way that, they talked and they did things. So here, he say, where was thou when I laid the foundation of the earth? Declare if you has understanding. Right? That's what he's telling him. Where was you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Again, John 1:1 say all things was created by Christ for Christ. So he's talking to Job here saying, where was you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Declare if thou have understanding. Right? Now, let's try. Let's go down here. Let's go to the next chapter. Let's go to 39:9. Sorry. He also tell him, he said, something about the clouds where it was. Give me 1 second. I'm 39 and 9. Is this 39? Okay, 39 and 9. Okay, I'm not. Is it 38 now? Give me 1 second. This just all I'm doing is showing you to where Christ letting it be known that everything was made by him. He's telling what's the name that he's done it. Here it is. I'm sorry, that was 38 and 9. You know. So he's telling him right here, when I made the clouds, the garment thereof, and thick and darkness well, let's go up 1. Let's go to 8. Well, let's go to 7. When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for. Hold on. Let's start at 6. I want you to, I don't want to just start. So I want, in the middle of a verse. He said, whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened? Who laid the cornerstones thereof? When the morning stars sang together, and we know the morning stars was Satan. Satan was Lucifer. He was the morning star that sang in heaven, next to the mercy seat, where Christ sat on the right side of God. So we know Satan was the morning star, which is an angel. So when the morning stars were sang together, and all the sons of God shouted for joy, right? We know that the stars are angels, as I spoke before. Or who shut up the sea with doors when it break forth, as it have issues out of the womb? So who shut up the sea? The sea's door. We understand. Remember when Christ was on, they was on a boat, and we know that Christ was he was at the bottom of the boat sleeping, and the waves, the water got to acting real crazy. We know that Christ, to test their faith, we know that Christ sent that storm upon to test the faith of the disciples, and they got scared, right? And he told the water to be, the wind, the water to be quiet, and it stopped, right? Remember, that's the New Testament. This here's still the Old Testament where he's talking to Job. Or who shut up the sea with the doors when it break forth, as if it had issues out of the womb? So the things that he done in the New Testament, he already spoke of in the Old Testament. And break up for it my decree place, and set barriers and doors. But then he say, when I made the clouds, the garment thereof, and thick in darkness, and swallow and swaddling band for it. So he's telling him that I laid the foundation of the earth. He's talking to Job. I laid the foundation of the earth. I made the clouds. So when we first read the book of Job, we all thought that Job was actually talking to God. This is what we all thought. But when you start, if you read the whole Bible, and a lot of people haven't read the whole Bible, but when you do read the whole Bible, you find out that it was Christ all the time that was talking with the people. We understand that. But at the time of the reading, we didn't understand that. So that's why I'm going over the scriptures to show you in John, to where it tells you that Christ said he made all things, everything was made by him for him. Now, all we doing is finding Christ in the Old Testament. I just showed you him in Exodus. I just showed you him dealing with the book of Job. I told you in Hebrew that he said, I'll come in the volume of the book. The volume, old and new, right? We understand that even dealing with Adam in the beginning, when he walked, through the Garden of Eden, he said, where's thou? You know what I'm saying? Remember, Adam was able to see his face in the beginning. Adam was, and he said he hid himself. Adam and Eve was able to actually see Christ. After that, no other man was able to see him. So he's the only one that was able to see Christ in his original form. He didn't come as a spirit, he actually came. All right. So I'm almost finished here. Let's go to Jeremiah. Well, let's do Jeremiah, right? Let's start at 2. This is Christ talking. Well, let's rewind for 1 second. Let's rewind for 1 second. I want to go back to, and let me show you something. Because a lot of people ain't gonna break it down like this, and I want you to get edifications. You know, again, this about, I'm not gonna be here 3-4 hours like I usually. It's gonna be a real quick lesson. So let's go to John 1:1. Boom. Let's read it. And this is the, come on, where we at? All right. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. I want you to listen again. In the beginning was the Word. Christ is the Word. You got the Father, the Word, and the Holy Spirit when you read John 7:1, right? And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So the Word was God because everything that Christ comes to say come directly from the Father. So if you give a particular person a certain order to go carry out, that comes directly from you, a decree, like from the king. You know what I'm saying? The king said that, you know, on this day this will happen, or the president said this, you know, or the principal, you know, over the school said, you know, it's a field trip, no school today, whatever. The Board of Education, no school today, whatever it is, it comes directly from somebody. Same here. So when Christ comes to deliver the word comes directly from God, the Father. And Christ bring it to the prophet, and the prophet brought it to the people. But back then, Christ was bringing it directly to his disciples, and he told, go make disciples of every nation. So now the disciples have to go talk to the people. And again, that's why I say, you know, Christ built his rock with Peter, you know what I mean? And it was one doctrine at the time, when that's 1,000. But I just want to go over that. So now, when he say the Word was with God, and the Word was God, let's go to 7:1. For 1 second, I just want to show you here. I'm sorry, that's 1 John. Okay. This is the prophet John. Let's go to 1 John. 1 John, and let's go 7:1. That. Say 1 John 1:7. Let me see something. John. Well, hold on. Should have been 1 John. Three. Is it 3? Sorry. 3. One second. Let's see. Is this right? Should have been 1 John. Is it 2 John? I ain't. Should have been 1 John. Hold on, y'all. 1 second. Trying to show something. Thought it should have been 1 John. Let me see something. Give me 1 second. I'm a little rusty. Let me show you guys something. I want to go to the 3 bear witness verse. 1 John 5. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm a little rusty. That's why I need to stand my scriptures. Okay, so all right, so we dealing with 1 John 5 and 7. Oops, sorry about that. Let's go back to 1 John 5 and 7. There we go. Sorry about that. Now here it is right here. For there are 3 that bear records in heaven. There's 3. The Father, which is God, the Word, which is Christ, and the Holy Ghost, and these 3 are one. So I want to put that out there so we can have an understanding. 3 that bear witness in heaven. The Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost. And the three are one. Right? And three that bear witness on earth. The Spirit, and the water, and the blood. And these three agree as one. Right? And we know Amos 3:3 saying, unless two agree, you cannot walk together. So we got that. Now, so we understand that the Word, the Father, and the Holy Ghost, right? And them three are one, but they're three separate spirits. I want y'all to understand. A lot of people teach you that they're all the same person. Yeah, they're three agree. When you read the book of Amos 3:3, it say, so let's go to Amos 3:3. Sorry, I'm off track, but I like to, make sure a person edified. Boom. And it tells you right here. Can two walk together except they be agreed? You can't walk with a person unless y'all on the same page. You got me? So yeah. So now we understand that the Word is Christ. Now, let's go to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah. So we got Jeremiah here, chapter 2 and 13. Boom. Now, you know what? Let's start. Since I'm in Jeremiah, I'm sorry. I want to start with Jeremiah 1 and let me see. Let's start with Jeremiah 1 first. This is something. Let's go 1 and 9. So I'm gonna do Jeremiah 1 and 9. Now, actually, let's just start from the beginning. The words of Jeremiah, son of Hilkiah, of the priests that were in Anathoth in the land of Benjamin. Now we know Benjamin is the Jamaicans, which is part of the 12 tribes of Israel. It say, to whom the words of the Lord came in the days of Hosea, the son of Ammon, the king of Judea, in the 13th year of his reign. So now, when you go back to the book of Kings, and when you're dealing with Hosea, the son of Ammon, king of Judah, in the 13th year of his reign, this is during the time they're giving you later about Jeremiah. See, Jeremiah was there in the book of Kings, but now they're giving you saying, well, during this time, because you have to read Kings before you get to Jeremiah. So if you read Kings, they saying, yeah, around that time when you was reading about Hosea, this is what was going on with Jeremiah during that time. So this is Jeremiah's story resulting back to the past in the book of Kings. He say, and it also came in the days, remember that's a J, Jehoiakim, the sons of Hosea, king of Judea, until the end of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the son of Hosea, king of Judah, until the carrying away of Jerusalem captive in the 5th month. And then it say here, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou came forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So we know the nations is, again, the nation is anybody that's not Israel. You understand? That's who the nations is. I explained that earlier. So he's saying when you was a baby, I already ordained you to be a prophet. And that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes it's some things that you can, you can have certain tasks in front of you that you may not understand at the particular time, you know. But he's talking to Jeremiah right now. Then he said, Lord, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. Now, this is what Jeremiah telling God. But the Lord said unto me, say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whoever I command thee, you shall go and speak. Be not afraid of their faces, for I am with thee to deliver thee, said the Lord. Right? Now, look, it's right here. It say, then the Lord put forth his hand and touched my mouth, and the Lord said unto me, behold, I have put my words in thy mouth. Understand? So now that's why when I read, hold on. That's why when I read the book of give me 1 second. That's why when I read the book of John, you know, when he said, and the word was that's why I spoke earlier when I said that God get a word to Christ and Christ bring forth to the prophet and the prophet give it to the people. That's why he said right here, listen, look, this is like some sort of a precept. Then the Lord put forth his hand and touched my mouth, and the Lord said unto me, behold, I have put my words in your mouth. So everything you saying is coming from me, right? See, I have this day set thee the nations and over the kingdoms, and to root out and to pour down and to destroy and throw down, to build and to plant. Moreover, the words of the Lord came unto me, saying, Jeremiah, what dost thou see? And I say, a rod, a root of almond tree. Now, I'm not gonna go all over the place, but I just want to say that to say that, you know, when he say that the Lord here, and I put forth his hand, and I say, then the Lord put forth his hand and touched my mouth, and Lord said to me, behold, I have put my words in thy mouth. So the things that the prophets speak on, or the things that they write, is not from them. As we understand that Peter and Paul and John, you know, they all say that, you know, whatever is written don't come from me, but, you know, through God. So now, let's go to Jeremiah 2, because we're finishing up here. How much time? Okay, so almost been an hour. So let's go 2 and 13. Boom. What do 2 and 13 say? For my people have committed 2 evils. They have forsaken. Now this is Christ. For my people have committed 2 evils. So look at this. I want to start at 2 and 11. Let's start at 2 and 9. He said, wherefore what you have pleaded with you, he say, wherefore I will that plead with you, saying the Lord, and with your children what I plead, right? Then he tell you, say, for pass over the yards of Chittim, and send unto Kedar, and consider diligently, and see if there be sustained. Have a nation changed their gods, and are yet no gods? But my people have changed their glory or their favor for something that's not profitable, right? So I went over this yesterday in one of my videos. Have a nation change their God? Remember, a nation is not Israel. The nation is the Muslim. They praise Allah, the Kaaba rock. You got the white people, they sacrifice the Baal. You got the Chinese, they do the dragon, or Buddha. They are faithful they haven't changed their gods. We have changed our gods, So instead of walking in the steps of Christ, we're following their gods. Which, when I read back in the book of Exodus when Christ told Moses not to deal with their people and their land because you want to eat with them. When you start eating with them, you're going to get comfortable. And when you get comfortable, then you're going to start, to marry their daughters. You understand? And their daughters, they're sacrificing to other gods. And you will be doing the same. How do we know that? Because Solomon did it. And he told Solomon to stay away from those strange women, as he told Moses first to tell the people. And you turn around, and Solomon was the king, of Israel, of Judea, of Jerusalem. And he dealt with Solomon had 700 wives, 300 concubines, which is a girlfriend. And he started making altars, something Christ already told Moses to stay away from them. So now he said, for my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewed them out of censers, broken censers that can hold no water. So they have forsaken me, the fountain of living water. This is the book of Jeremiah. So all we doing is we trying to find Christ in the Old Testament. That's it. Trying to find Christ in the Old Testament. You have forsaken me. So if we're in Jeremiah, who is me? He say, for the Lord has spoke. Right? So now if we doing that, so Jeremiah 2:13, right? So let's go to Jeremiah 17 and 13. What do we got? I'm sorry about that. If a lot of y'all came in, if y'all want to see, I'll send you a link to the whole lessons if y'all want to get the whole thing later, because I'm almost finishing up here. So let's go to Jeremiah 17 and 13. He said, O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed, and they that depart from me shall be written in earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living waters. Again, O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that have forsaken thee shall be ashamed. Thee, he's saying me. That is you. You know what I'm saying? That's why he say, thou shalt not have any other gods. That is you. Thee is me. Now, he's telling you here that, and O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that have forsaken thee, right, shall be ashamed. And they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living water. Now, this is the second time he mentioned living waters. The first time he mentioned it was Jeremiah 2:13. Now, let's go to the book of John, because this is the last part of my lessons. Let's go to John here. Let's go John 4. What about the Samaritan woman? Y'all remember her? So let's go to John 4, and I'm going to start at 1. Since it say, when therefore, let's go here. When therefore the Lord knew how the Pharisees had heard that Christ made and baptized more disciples than John. Though Christ himself baptized not, but his disciples, right? Then here he say, he left Judea and departed again into Galilee. And he must need go through Samaria. Then come he to a city, Samaria, which is called Shachar, near to the parcels of ground that Jacob gave to his son. So that's what the man to the parcel, or the well. It's supposed to be in the well. Now Jacob's well was there. Christ, therefore, being weary with his journey, sat thus on the well, and it was about the 6th hour. I want y'all to listen to that real careful. He said Christ was weary, right here. So we know that right now, by telling you right here, Christ was being weary. That means he was tired. He was tired. So Christ was in man form. He was tired, and it was about the 6th hour. There come a woman of Samaria to draw water, Christ said unto her, give me to drink. For the disciples was gone away to buy meat. Then said the woman of Samaria unto him, how is it that thou, being a Jew, ask drink of me, which am a Roman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealing with Samaria. So this lady just described Christ as being black. Flat out. Flat out. That's how you know that the original Jews that's in Israel and Jerusalem, not the real people. We know that. She said, how is that you being a Jew? And we know that Jew come from Judah, the fourth child of Jacob, the child of the 12 tribes of Israel. We know that Christ came through the bloodline of David, through Joseph, and Christ being a black man, as he was described in certain parts of the book, of having feet as bronze burnt in the furnace, and his hair made pure white as in wood. So she's saying Christ flat out. And she said, how is it that you, being a Jew, right? Because remember, these the same Jews that try to kill Paul, or, back then, and, that wanted to, destroy Christ and in the book of the Gospels, right? Now, then she say, Christ answered and said unto her, right here. Christ answered and said to her, if you knew the gift of God and who it is that say to thee, give me to drink, thou would have asked him, and he would have given thee living water. So now the woman said unto him, sir, thou hast nothing to draw with, and the well is deep. From whence then hast thou that this living water? And I know y'all might not understand down D and all that, So, I'm trying to work with it the best way I can. She say, in other words, ain't you greater? He said, well, are you greater than our father Jacob, which gave us the well and drank, thereof himself and the children and his cattle? Christ answered and said unto her, whoever drink of this living water shall thirst again. If you drink from this well, you will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks, and this is what he's telling her, whoever shall drink of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give him shall in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. So as I want to go back to here, to where he tell her, the lady, right here. Jesus answered and said to her, if thou knew the gift of God and who it is that say to thee, give me to drink, thou would have asked him, and he would have given thee living water. So he's still explaining himself as being the fountain of living water. Right now, that's in John 4:1. So now we know he mentioned the fountain of living water in Jeremiah 2:13, 17 and 13, John 4:1, and I'm just showing similarities to where he spoke of the living water to Jeremiah in the book of Jeremiah the prophet. Now he's in the book of John, and he's still in the book of John speaking upon him being the living water. So if we go to John 7 and 37, what do we got there? John 7 and 37. Boom. All right, here we go. In the last day, that great day of feast, Christ stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. Right? If any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. He that believe in me, as the scriptures have said, out of his belly shall flow river of living water. Again, he that believe on me, as the scriptures have said, out of his belly shall flow river of living water. Y'all with me? I don't think y'all with me. Well, let me get back here. I just try to edify y'all the best way I can. Okay. And right here, this is my finishing remarks. I'm just trying to edify y'all the best way I can. You know, I said, you know, straight from scriptures. Nothing that I said come directly from me. I give you scriptures, I break it down. Christ was there the whole time in the Old Testament. He's all through there. Everything that you can kind of read, you can kind of precept from a different book, you know, that pertains to the Bible, or later in different, you know, which is called precept, different parts of the Bible. And that's why I kind of correspond these scriptures together. That's why I went to Job. That's why I went to Exodus. That's why I went to Jeremiah. That's the Old Testament. And I'm showing you where Christ was there. And then I linked it up and I doubled back, you know what I'm saying, and went to certain books, you know what I'm saying, the Hebrews, you know what I'm saying, the book of John, the New Testament. And I just kind of brought it together so you can understand the similarities there. Some people say that Christ is God. Christ is not God. Christ is the Word of God. He's our God, but he also has a, you know, a Father. For Christ is the head of man. So yes, he's our God, and God is the head of Christ. Christ is the head of man, and man is the head of woman, and the woman's the head over the house, the children. It's a particular order that you have to go through, you know, in so many words. Now, you can still say Christ is God. Don't matter, you know, don't matter. The important thing is, you know, to honor him in truth, you know, peace, faithfulness, you know. Don't focus on one thing, like as he this and that. Focus on the scriptures. You know, follow the scriptures in its entirety. Stay in the scriptures. When you read 2 Timothy 2:15, it tells you to say, study to show thyself approved. Let me get that scripture real quick. And I say this because a lot of people say, well, how do I know this and how do I know that? Well, you don't know. You know, so if you here, boom, boom, here. Here. Sorry, it say here, study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that need not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. So that's all he's telling you here is you have to study for yourself. You know, I can tell you anything. The elder, the pastor, the deacon, minister, bishop, they can tell you anything. And you might go with that if you haven't read yourself. I can tell you anything. I'm showing you scriptures. That's why I'd rather show you scriptures. And yes, I does. Like I said, you know, I read it. You know, I have, you know, Bibles in front of me that, you know, I can actually go under and actually read from the book, but I showed you on the screen. And I did that, and I just broke it down to the best of my knowledge, the best of my ability. And this is, you know, this wasn't a lesson that I was planning on doing, because I have another type of lesson that I will be doing. But it's just something that just came upon me, and I said, you know, I need to get this out. Something that I needed to get out. The end is near. The end is near. You remember that saying how Hogan used to say, what are you going to do when the host will come from you? And get the tearing his clothes up. Christ coming. I don't think y'all understand me, right? I'm going to say it again. Christ is coming. He's coming. What you going to do? He's not coming to talk. 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. 3, 4, better lock your doors. Christ coming. He mad. He mad. Why? As I read before in Jeremiah, when you committed two evils. Number one, you're sacrificing a lot of them knowingly and unknowingly. You're sacrificing to pagan gods, celebrating their feast days. You don't get God no, true faithful praises. You don't do anything like that. You think that you go to church not on the Sabbath, that's good enough that he should accept it. Why should he accept it? It's not his Sabbath day. He didn't bless no day that day. He blessed the seventh day. I'm not going to keep going over the same thing with you people. Do what you want to do. It's your life. Don't be stupid, though. Too short song. I don't know what to tell you, but I might not make it. I might not make it. Everybody has work to do. You're no different than me. You're not. If he can feed you, he can starve you. Remember that. Those who have an ear, let's pray. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive our debts as we forgive our debtors. Leave us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. I ask that you, you keep us blessed. Keep a hedge over us. Come into our hearts. Those who, don't know their way. You show them leadership, instill some type of blessings toward them. You have people that seek the word. You have people that want the word and can't find the word. So I ask that you put your angels over them to guide them into the correct path. To lead them not astray. We also thank you for the earth. We know that the earth, could be destroyed. Just at your mere words. We don't give thanks for the trees. For the air. Just to breathe, for the flowers. For the water that you give us. For the food that we eat. Just to wake up every day. We take the little things for granted. And when it's not there and it's too late, then we cry out to you, so I'm giving thanks, in advance, for me and the people. I ask that you watch over my family, my kids, my associates, my enemies, my loved ones, those, that despise me. And, for any sins that we committed unknowingly, I ask that you forgive us for that, for many do things in ignorance. And as Hosea 4:6 say, we are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So I ask that you be with us, and I pray in the name of Christ. Amen. Well, I hope this lesson edified you. I hope it edified you. But until next time, I'll see you. Shalom.